Hello everyone, this is me, Dusty Circuit here, and, I'm back at my base again because, this is my new base. Uh, so, it's just kind of going to be, just a kind of an update as far as what I've been up to on Asgard, and, also, uh, kind of an updated base tour because I've actually built a lot of things in this base since the last video. I showcased it, and also, uh, and let's just say I am quite progressed in modern industrialization at this point. I say I would be at about the midpoint of the mod. So really kind of my strategy with this base, I would say, is kind of to have all of my machines and my ME system within a 3x3 chunk area defined by a chunk loader that I have placed in the center of the base. Though I also have room to expand to 5x5 because I believe that's the maximum area the chunk loader covers. Though probably as I add more and more machines, and maybe it might be advisable to separate them into another area that may or may not need to be continuously chunk loaded. But for now, my base is as far as I'm aware, it's not affecting server TPS. But if for whatever reason it does, I'm sure the Valkyries will just have a talk with me, and it'll be handled in a it'll be handled in a not harsh and very understanding way. But so here is just where I have ME terminals, or all my ME terminals, even though I have a wireless universal terminal. And this basically, this box of ME controllers is, I guess, what I would call the heart of my ME system. And so it's pretty much there's actually 3 different ME networks as a part of this. There's the main network, which is pretty much what is connecting all the machines to this controller, as well as ME drives and other devices. And then there's 2 P2P networks, whose only purpose is to carry P2P tunnels, which each P2P tunnel can carry up to 32 ME channels. And pretty much all these 4 molecular assembler blocks are connected via P2P tunnels, as well as all of my auto crafter, my crafting processor units, or these multi blocks here. And Lucario actually showed me how to use the big torch. I initially thought it was like chunk, but it was 1 chunk. So it's like I had one of these placed in every chunk in my base. But it turns out this actually works by placing torches in it. and that actually increases the range that it covers. And the server's about to restart, so I'm going to log off, but I'm going to edit right to when the server's done. I am back. So where I left off is we were at this level of my base. I was explaining how this stuff works, and these are so these molecular assemblers I've actually had to rebuild because I had built them using a more compact arrangement that worked fine on Asgard 1, but for whatever reason doesn't work on this Asgard. So I've had to rebuild them so that they're not touching each other, and instead are actually just connected via smart cables, which are then connected via these dense cables back to one of the P2P tunnels of the P2P network. And altogether, I believe altogether these are about 128 pattern providers, and which is gonna be a lot of crafting recipes that I can actually put in the system, though. I'll do that math off camera and then put the number on screen right about here. But anyway, and I guess this would be the main level, or the ground level of my base. And this is a chest that Lucario left for me, but it has served its purpose, so I guess I'll just put it away. And then over here, I actually have this is actually a fully functioning door that I made using Create. So you basically just press this button, and then it opens. And then I have about a 5-second delay on it, so after it opens, it'll close automatically after about 5 seconds, like so. And we will take a look at how that door actually works in a little bit. And then over here is my elevator. Also powered by Create. And then down here is just where I'm keeping most of my machines. And then also the ME drives for the ME system, and is also where most of my cabling networks are. And then over here is actually the second of the P2P networks. And really the difference here is the white-blue cables are going to the autocrafters, or the crafting CPU units and the molecular assemblers. And then the orange cables are all the machines down here. And most of this is modern industrialization machines, though over here I'm using an Industrial Revolution pulverizer just for one crafting recipe that doesn't work with the macerators. And over here I have I create millstone for ruby dust. Though everything else is pretty much all handled by modern industrialization and applied energistics. These machines are basically all my ore processing. Like, I believe these two macerators and those furnaces are pretty much everything smeltable into ingots or metals. And then on this side is like this macerator and these, or those two macerators and these three compressors are all the ores that are compressible, like you turn into dust and then compress into their regular form. And then I just put two macerators here specifically for bauxite. And then over here is my 4 electric blast furnaces, and one of them I have already upgraded to Canthal coils, which I have set up for these 3 ingots, which require the Canthal tier furnace, as well as steel. Though for the annealed copper, I actually have this setup back here with which is turning water into oxygen and hydrogen, and the hydrogen I'm just dumping in this trash can to get rid of it. And this is something I actually didn't quite know about existed in this mod pack, but initially when I was using modern industrialization to get water, I used the pumps because, well, that's part of the modern industrialization mod. But a few players have actually let me know of this block called Granny's Sink, which is basically an infinite water source. And that basically makes it so you can pretty much get infinite water. And I'm pretty much using that everywhere in my automated machine setups that requires water for any processes. I guess I'm not sure how you'd say that, but pretty much anywhere in my machines I'm needing water, I'm using the Granny Sink now. Because I can. Though this blast furnace I have upgraded to 2 times the normal speed with 16 advanced upgrades. Oh, it's actually 888 upgrades. And this blast furnace I have upgraded using, I believe, 32, yeah. I believe this makes it 50% faster than normal, and the 32 I had in here makes it 3 times faster. The 3 times the normal speed. So these two are unupgraded. So over here, I have automated rubber production, which is taking coke from that coke oven, and then macerating it and then making it into whatever the first I believe it's raw synthetic oil, and then that gets goes through here, and then it's turned into synthetic oil, which is then gets stored in my ME system. And then to actually make the rubber, that gets exported into this mixer along with the sulfur dust. And how I am making sulfur is I am growing sugar cane, importing that, and then exporting sugar cane into this machine or this electric furnace, which so what I'm doing with it in the ME system is I'm crafting that into paper and then into paper blocks, which you can smelt into a burnt paper block. And then I'm crafting that into gunpowder, which is a thing you can do in this mod pack. Like, you can get gunpowder from sugarcane. And then I'm taking the gunpowder and then pulverizing it into sulfur dust. And then that's getting stored in the ME and then also exported back into this mixer, where synthetic oils become synthetic rubber. And then synthetic rubber, along with more paper from that sugar cane, gets turned into rubber. And I believe there's 2 different recipes for rubber sheets for modern industrialization. There's this cheaper recipe, which is just you take the synthetic oil out of the blast furnace and then directly into a mixer with paper, which makes 8 rubber sheets for 1 paper, and 100, I think that's 111 millibuckets of this raw synthetic oil. Or you can take that same amount of synthetic rubber, which is this, in a mixer with sulfur. And then you can put this into the mixer. And this gives you 12 rubber sheets. Oh, and I think I said this was 8 rubber sheets, but it's actually just 2. And even though it is more complicated, this recipe is more involved. I am doing it as it gets me more rubber. Oh, and then there's this other way of making rubber, which I'm pretty sure involves oil processing. And yeah. Which I eventually would like to go that route, but this is actually working fine for right now. And over here, I have chemical, I have production of doped silicon plates for the more efficient way of making transistors and diodes, which is done in these chemical reactors. And then this vacuum freezer is what you need for part of making these ingots. Because as you can see, if we go back over to here, smelting them makes hot ingots, which you actually have to cool off in this machine. And I believe the first way you do that is with the vacuum freezer, but then there's another recipe So there's the vacuum freezers, which is what I'm doing right now, but fairly soon I would like to do this recipe, which seems to do it faster, though it requires this cryo fluid, which from my understanding, like as soon as it's done in the heat exchanger, I can just use the vacuum freezer to recombine it back into cryo fluid when it's done. But I'll have to look into that. And over here, I have advanced inscribers for processor production for applied energistics. And then back in here is the redstone for my door, which is pretty straightforward, just for water wheels going into a rotary speed controller, and this then going into a mechanical piston, which actually moves the door up and down. And then I am using a redstone link to connect the two buttons to this redstone. And then whenever you press it to open the door, this powered latch turns on. And then after about 5 seconds, this pulse repeater turns it back off. So I guess I can show that right now by flicking it on. So when you press the button, that goes down, and then after 5 seconds, this shuts off, and then it goes back up. And over here, I just have this assembler makes create precision mechanisms, which you need lubricant and the soldering alloy, which is basically tin and lead in a mixer, and then you put it in. I believe it's in the electric blast furnace to actually turn it into the molten form, which I believe I'm using that furnace over there for. And then this assembler is I currently have making my upgrades and my circuit boards for digital circuits. And over here is my Certus quartz and Fluix quartz production, which is basically just turning sand into Certus quartz and Fluix quartz by way of making the seeds, then growing them in these crystal growth chambers. Then they go. Then they basically go around into macerators, and then put back into these to make more seeds. And then that loop just keeps going around and around until it gets full of the Certus quartz crystals. And then I'm just importing whatever is needed into my ME system. And then whenever I get more Just to avoid overflowing my ME system, I'm just using these level emitters to basically stop importing whenever I have more than, in this case, 2,000 of each crystal in my ME system. Though I could set that way higher. I've just set it to 2,000 for right now. Oh, and how I'm getting the cobblestone is from this cobble generator Mark III from Kybe, and then just macerating it twice to get sand, which then goes into these crafters. And then over here, I just have a coke oven. That is, I'm just importing importing coal into, and then I'm just powering it with a bronze boiler that is powered by a botany pot. And just whenever I have enough coke in my ME system, I'm just stopping importing this into here. And then I'm also taking the creosote from this and then making lubricant, which is needed for my cutting machines. And then over here is the bulk of my auto crafting that requires furnaces, macerators, compressors, wire mills, and the polarizer. And then over here, I have 4 centrifuges that are speed upgraded to double their normal speed, which actually was made possible by the quest book. I believe I got some turbo upgrades, and I think yeah, I put 1 turbo upgrade in each machine. Which pretty much, like by default, it says max overclock. I think it was 32, and now they're 64, so they're doubled. So they can run twice as fast as normal, is from my understanding. And actually, how I have my cables hooked up is I'm basically my power production downstairs is making medium voltage, which I am then which is going through these electrum cables, which I am then having to transform down to low voltage, which is what I'm powering all of my machines with. And I'm actually doing this throughout the base, wherever I'm just hooking up machines that need low voltage. And why I have so many macerators and furnaces is really just for parallelization, so I can smelt and macerate things faster. Though eventually, I might reduce the number of these machines as I am able to make machine upgrades. Or I may just upgrade these machines that I already have and make them even faster. Though that's also going to require more power. And over here I have pretty sure this is concrete production, and I'm also making black dye and clay with this. And then this mixer is for alloys, or for alloy production. And I have this set up for all these alloys going for these furnaces. So basically I'm taking the actual ingots and then macerating them and then mixing them in here. And then smelting them back into their ingot form in these furnaces. And the alloys that actually need to be processed in the electric blast furnace, I am just putting directly into here. I'm just pretty much I have blacklisted those here so they can't go in the furnaces, and I'm just importing those as soon as they're made. Oh, and over here is my electric quarry, which I have slightly speed upgraded, and I'm just exporting drills into it, and so I can autocraft the drills, and they get exported directly into this. And as for my ME drives, this base at least is totally is being used up. This one is half used up. And this one is partially filled up, and that super storage cell is holding all my fluids right now. And here I have the security terminal, which is needed for the wireless terminals, as well as the wireless access point. And over here is where I have my chunk loader, which I'm actually having to load these outer chunks because I made a little bit of a mistake with my molecular assemblers, so one block of each of them is sticking out into those chunks. So I'm kind of like, well, I'll just force load those chunks. So that's just what I'm doing. And now we can actually go down to the next lowest level. And then here is just kind of my power room or boiler room. I'm not sure which I want to call it, but it's pretty much the power source of my base, which is these two advanced large steam boilers, which output pretty much a full electrum cable of medium voltage power. And this left one is solely powering the ME system. And then this right one is powering all the machines, as well as my player transmitter for my wireless jetpack charging. And originally I had that placed over here, but my ME system has grown to the point where it's basically this using half of, where this boiler is pretty much running at 50% capacity all the time. So I've decided to, as to avoid overstressing that too much, I've just moved this player transmitter over to this boiler, which really is pretty much idle unless a lot of my machines are running. And I'm just growing oak wood in botany pots, so it could be any wood that can be smelted into charcoal. And then I'm just any of the apples and the sticks and the saplings, I'm just trashing, and then excess wood I'm also trashing. And then I'm also putting wood into this electric furnace, which is just then making charcoal. And then that is fueling the boilers. And I originally had pumps here, but I decided to replace them with the granny sinks because in order to kind of save the power that those pumps otherwise would need. And I also have another P2P cable, which is going down to the bottommost level. Which I'm planning to use for my oil processing. And also over here, I have create automated rail production for trains. And over here, I made these crushing wheels, which I would like to use to process certain ores that cannot be macerated and compressed, like diamonds and emeralds and stuff, until I can make the implosion compressor from modern industrialization, which is what you need to process that stuff. And over here, I just have a steam engine set up because these machines require a lot of stress units, which is what the actual power, quote unquote, of the create mod is called. Though I would like to fuel this boiler with lava, but I just haven't figured out how to get lava into this thing. So for right now, I'm just fueling it with campfires. But I would like to get lava into there so that it can actually run faster and produce more power. So over here is pretty much everything from here to here is actually so basically I am making chromium and manganese, which are needed for stainless steel production. And then how that works is it just goes in the centrifuges, and then into here where it gets combined with hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, and then the product of that gets turned into the tiny dusts, which is what we're actually making. And then the acid, the sulfuric acid can then just be recycled back into here, but the hydrochloric acid actually splits into sulfur, or splits into chlorine and hydrogen, which have to be recombined in here, in this chemical reactor, which then we can recycle it back into this one. And then all this stuff is taking crude oil and then making whatever this liquid is called. And we're making polyethylene, which is what's needed to make the upgrades and digital circuits. And then over here is my oil drilling rig. And it's also how I am going to upgrade my power. So there's actually a few different routes I can go. I can do I can make diesel fuel and run some diesel generators, or I can fuel my boilers with diesel, or I can Or I've discovered this other recipe that using so using the heat exchanger, I can basically use lava to make steam from water with a 1% chance of getting obsidian, which I guess I'll just import into the ME system. But the crazy thing is if 10 millibuckets of lava makes 8,000 millibuckets of steam, which I can then put through turbines to make power. And you can also, I've discovered you can also speed upgrade the heat exchanger, and then from there I'm looking to I could go with high voltage steam turbines to make power, or there's also the large steam turbine multi-block, which I'll probably go that way, which can make up to 16,800 EU per tick, which is basically a full extreme voltage cable worth of power. So for right now, I'm just going to be using it for high voltage power because I don't have the ability to make extreme voltage transformers and energy hatches just yet. And I have also discovered that literally right below my base is one of these dungeons from Graveyard mod, which I haven't explored yet, but I guess I will be doing fairly soon. And also, and in order to add this, when I first built my base, this was the lowest level, but I then added this level, which required me to move the stuff that powers my elevator down here. And I believe originally I had it in this room, and then I moved it down to this room. And originally I had, I was just using cogs to get the speed of the elevator to where I wanted it to be, but now now that I have a way to autocraft the precision mechanisms, I can make the rotary speed controllers, which are pretty much all my crate stuff, with the exception of the rail auto-crafting, and the crushing wheels is powered by water wheels. With that setup I mentioned being powered by steam engines. And I actually followed a tutorial to make this elevator, and how it works is at each stop there is a redstone contact, which then makes contact, pardon the pun, or no pun intended, with this redstone contact, which then sends a redstone signal to this powered latch, which controls the clutch, which controls whether or not the elevator moves or is stationary. And then for going up or down. I just have these sets of redstone links, and one of them makes the elevator go up, and one of them makes it go down, which is just changing the state of this powered latch, which in turn changes the state of that gear shift. And that's about it for the current state of my base. Though some of the next things on the agenda, aside from more modern industrialization machines, would be a train station, as that is a fairly popular thing on Asgard with the Create mod. It's really cool. Like, I actually rode. So Telly made a train at their base, and I actually got the experience of being able to ride in it today. And and I also made a video of that, so should be able to upload that as well along with this video. And and although I'm probably, for the most part, just going to be using waste stones and set homes for travel, the trains offer for another unique experience. And I'm really only doing it for the novelty or / coolness factor, but it's just the idea of having a train that I can ride to other people's bases and eventually just spawn is pretty cool. I mean, who doesn't want that? And another thing I've been meaning to do but been putting off is getting into Ad Astral for the planets, because Nin has made custom planets which have ores from different mods on them, and I would like So up until this point, pretty much all of my ores have come from that electric quarry down there. And that has done wonders for me, but the downfall of it is it requires a continuous supply of different types of drills, which require not a small amount of resources to craft. So it's kind of a catch-22 where you have to input resources to get resources, and which is not really ideal, but at least you get more resources than what you put into it. Because if you take the ores and macerate them, and then smelt them and compress them, depending on the ore, you can get you could get like depending on the ore up to I think 8 ingots or up to 8 ingots or other products from one ore. Though I would like to eventually get more into create quarries, or I might do mining turtles if the create quarries prove to be too problematic. But I really would like to use the create mod because it's awesome, and I don't really understand computer crafts, so uh yeah. And while I can uh do quarries in the overworld, there's just that liability that I might run into somebody else's base, which I mean, if I find an area that's far out and then just designate that as my quarrying area and only do my quarrying there, it should be fine, but I'm just still a little bit paranoid. So, uh, the planet actually presents a mining dimension of sorts for me to actually do quarrying without the risk of running into someone's base. Though some people eventually will end up building bases on the planets, I don't really see that being as much of a problem as it would be in the overworld. And from my understanding, Saturn isn't really, well, Saturn is where you get a lot of the modern industrialization stuff. And some people are gonna have bases on the planets, but it's not gonna be anywhere near the amount of bases that we have in the overworld. And yeah, that is going to be my plan. Just kind of going forward. But anyway, uh, this video is gonna be getting on long, so I'm gonna be ending it here. And thank you for watching. And this has been me, Dusty Circuit, with some more Asgard content. And if you liked what you saw, remember to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want to see my next videos, be sure to hit the bell for notifications. And peace out. Bye.